Hello, everybody. It is Jonathan from Radio Tokyo, and it is Wednesday, August 19th, 2015, and I am here to tell you that apparently we at Radio Tokyo, meaning myself, Nick, and Danny, are somehow prophets. Now, there's a lot of stuff that we have discussed on the show, and I'm not going to go into, overwhelming detail about all of it, but I want to just touch on a few things. Um, the other day on our Facebook page, I posted uh, an article about the Dawn of Justice movie. Now, if you remember, several times that we've discussed this movie on the show, Nick and I have basically established what we think that the plot line is going to be. Now, what we think is going to happen is Batman is, already pre-existing, and Superman shows up, and all these things start happening, and Wonder Woman gets involved. Basics. Superhero story building concepts. What we didn't know, or whether I didn't know or Nick didn't know individually, or maybe even Danny. I'm not sure if she was here when we mentioned it. But there was something I found out the other day. In uh, the Man of Steel movie, there was actually a scene when not Bruce Wayne, Superman and Zod are fighting inside, like actually inside the building, which we find out is a building belonging to Wayne Enterprises in Dawn of Justice. Uh, what you see in there, in one of the rooms they're fighting in, is a poster that is stuck on a wall, and it gets kind of blown away. It's there just for background stuff, but it's already blown away. Now, what it says is very, 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 very important. I mean, like Cleveland Brown, very. You know, what it says is keep calm and wait for Batman, or something to that general effect. That was not, as it turns out, a sign that was put there just for the hell of it. Like, it's not there just for, Easter egg. It's there to establish the fact that Superman has been here on Earth for X amount of time, but Batman was already here. He was already being Batman. Now, since we know that DC is building their own cinematic universe, like Marvel has been doing, it makes sense to throw Easter eggs like that into the mix. Um, so, like I said, this is there, and it shows at some point in time, someone thought, hey, let's just throw some kind of nod to Batman being there. Now, there may be other Easter eggs in the movie that, we somehow missed, and that's entirely possible. But once you go back and you have your second, third view, or whatever, you tend to notice little things like that. So that's there. And we know from the trailer that the fight that destroys the building that Bruce Wayne is watching get blown up is a Wayne building. And we know that scene actually compares to a scene from Man of Steel. And it's when he and Zod are fighting, and Zod first discovers that he can shoot laser beams from his eyes. Okay? So those movies are absolutely tied together just from those two little pieces alone. Now, we know, again, in Dawn of Justice, there is a Robin costume on a mannequin. I guess it's a mannequin. In what has to be the Batcave, or what we can only assume is the Batcave in this version of the story. Most signs indicate that it seems to be that Robin is dead. Okay, Robin is dead. Uh, but there is more evidence to support the theory that has come out, that Nick and I discussed a couple weeks ago, that the Joker from Suicide Squad is actually the former Robin, and it all has to do with the costume that you see in Dawn of Justice. Now, here's where, we're getting into a little more speculation here, but it's okay because we seem to be pretty damn prophetic about this. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you right now, Joker has something to do with that costume. I would bet money on it. Now, if you go back and listen to past shows, you'll find the points and times where I've suggested something like that, or Nick has suggested something like that. There seems to be stuff popping up that says we might possibly be right. So, what it is that connects them two together almost definitively is on the Robin costume that is in Dawn of Justice. On the shoulders, there looks like two little marks, okay, like little burn marks or whatever, okay, uh, or stab marks or something like that. Roughly where the cape comes up over the shoulders, about halfway between the neckline and where the actual shoulder is, the shoulder pauldron is about halfway there. Now, if you go look at the still shot of Jared Leto as the Joker, the one where he's holding his hands this side of his head and screaming with his mouth open, whatever, and you look at his shoulders, you will see, ta-da, little marks there in the exact same spots. Now, there are other subtle clues in this version of the Joker that indicate that he has something at all to do with Robin. Now, either he has beaten Robin to death and he is insanely happy about it, which makes sense, or he is secretly, at one point in time, in this version of the character, he is actually a former Robin. Now, we've talked before about how he has the busted out teeth, or at least he has, the metal grill over his teeth, and he has the teardrop. Well, the teardrop on his eye is actually a J. If you look at it, it's a J. Now, it could be J for Joker, or it could be J for Jason, as in Jason Todd. Okay. There is on one of his arms, there is a bird tattoo. I mean, bird tattoo, wounds on his shoulders, a J in the shape of a teardrop. Usually, when you get a teardrop tattoo, you either killed somebody or it's in memory of somebody. So a J and a teardrop. So J teardrop, shoulder wounds, bird, shoulder, bird tattoo, broken teeth. I feel it, and plus all the little tiny scars all over him. I feel really, really comfortable saying that since we know that this storyline in part is taken directly from Batman graphic novels and stuff from the 80s and 90s, I feel incredibly comfortable predicting right now that this Joker is Jason Todd. And if he's not Jason Todd, he is some other Joker. I mean, I'm sorry, some other Robin who has been killed or something. He has to be something there. Now, the only drawback to this theory is that if you look at um, the footage for Suicide Squad's trailer, whenever you see the Joker, with Harley Quinn, you see him and he looks kind of the same. He looks about the same individual. And you see, of course, Batman jumping on, the back of the car, and it's and I think personally that since this is all footage of him actually coming to Harley Quinn, or rather Harleen Quinzel, and capturing her and torturing her and twisting her mind and everything. Since this is supposed to be in the past, this would be maybe 10 years in the past, maybe 20 years in the past. We don't know, but it's easy to kind of figure out the time scale here when you take the line from the Dawn of Justice trailer where Batman says, 20 years in Gotham, are there any good guys left? Okay, so we know he's been being Batman for at least 20 years. So let's say he was 20 when he started, he's 40 now. If he was 18 when he started, he's 38 now. He's somewhere in the early 40s age range right there. So it's logical to assume in that some point in time that he has gotten a Robin that showed up, because that would be very comic accurate. Okay, And since they want to go with a pre-established Batman, if they're saying that yes, he does absolutely have a dead Robin somewhere, it makes sense. Now, Robin may not be dead, okay, but like really, the major speculation come from this, other than the one stick in the mud, basically, that is the fact that we're not exactly sure how far back the uh, uh, flashback footage from Suicide Squad goes. The one major thing here is that, again, going back to the comic books, uh, the Joker at one point in time was known as the Red Hood. He took on that guise. Okay, well then he becomes the Joker, and there is a storyline where Batman's actually involved in it, to where he's becoming the Joker, and that's why he hates him. Okay, so skipping past that, years later, after the Joker has beaten Jason Todd to death, or we thought to death, and then blown him up, uh, Jason Todd shows up and he assumes the mantle of the Red Hood. So there is a definite comic supported connection there between Joker and Jason Todd, because they do share at least one alternate identity. So it's not a difficult stretch to say maybe that's what's being done in the movies. Anyway, there's a couple things else that I could go over. There's a lot of stuff that we've noticed from the Marvel movies coming out, but I think for now, it's probably best just to wait and see uh, if there's any more evidence that comes out. Some of the things that we've predicted on the show, but for now, like at least with this video, I'm comfortable saying that the Joker is Jason Todd, or he has something to do with the dead Robin. It would be impossible for that to me. It seems impossible for that not to be what's gone on. So we'll find out here in a few months. Anyway, Friday show's coming up. Danny will be here. We're gonna have our special guest. We're actually going to be doing a 2 hour long show. Now, whether that means we're going to have one continuous 2 hour show, or we'll just divide it up for this week and next week, I don't know. But keep an eye out for, like I said, special guest Joshua Gundalmu from here on YouTube. If you have seen his videos, cool. If you haven't, go check him out. We're gonna have stuff up on our Facebook about it. Uh, See you all Thursday. I'm sorry. Friday. Talk to all of you Friday. Have a good night. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe to us, like us on Facebook. Tell Nick how much you hate him. Whatever you have to do. Thank you for listening. Have a great night, everybody. Bye bye.